And the world sees all of this. America's blunders, America's criminal mistakes. Even US allies are questioning it now. The British Defense Secretary has called the withdrawal a mistake. Joining us now is Tom Tugendhat. He is a member of the British Parliament from the Conservative Party. He's also the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee that examines the decisions by the Foreign Office, basically shaping the UK foreign policy. Welcome to WION. My first question to you is about what the Defense Secretary said. Ben Wallace says the American withdrawal from Afghanistan is quote-unquote a mistake. Do you agree with this assessment?
I'm very glad he has said that, because I've been saying it for several months now. As chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I don't speak for the government, but my job is to hold the government to account and to review foreign policy. And this is something that we've been concerned about for a long time. So to hear the Defence Secretary agreeing is good. But sadly, the decision has still been taken and the US and allies are still leaving.
Were you not expecting America to withdraw from Afghanistan?
No, we were expecting it, and indeed it started under the Obama administration, as you'll remember, when President Obama set out a timetable for withdrawal, and then President Trump began negotiations, including the negotiating the release of Taliban prisoners in 2020, I think it was, just over a year ago. And then what President Biden has done is he's accelerated that and actually completed the withdrawal. So while we were expecting it, the actual date was a bit of a surprise. And it's certainly extraordinary that we have prioritized the anniversary of 9/11 over the reality of the life of the Afghan people.
Now, the US has asked the Taliban to spare its embassy in Kabul. What do you make of America's deal-making with the Taliban that ignores the interests of the people of Afghanistan?
Well, I think the United States has made some major strategic errors in Afghanistan in the last 5 or so years. And indeed, the advice of Ambassador Khalilzad has led the Americans astray time and time again. And now his latest comment asking for the US embassy to be spared is an extraordinary thing to say at a time when 4.5 million civilians are at risk of murder at the hands of the Taliban.
My final question is about Pakistan. The Afghan envoy recently briefed United Nations member states about the role Islamabad is playing in supporting the Taliban's offensive. How do you assess Pakistan's role?
I haven't seen evidence of it, but what I'd be very keen to do right now is to be, for our government to be speaking to Islamabad about the importance of making sure that any government, any future administration in Kabul is only recognized if it adheres to basic human rights, including the rights of women and girls, and if it cooperates with the international community. The idea that we can find ourselves recognizing the kind of Taliban regime that we saw in 2000, 2001 is not acceptable. Now, we know that this Taliban regime at this stage, it certainly appears to be more interested in international recognition. Mullah Barada has been to see Wang Yi in Beijing, and I'm told he's been to see Minister Lavrov, Sergei Lavrov, in Moscow. So clearly they are interested in some form of international recognition, certainly more so than they were 20 years ago. And I hope that we can all use this leverage to make sure that the government of Afghanistan, whatever it is, whoever it is, has proper legitimacy. But I also hope that India, with its seat currently on the UN Security Council, of which it is this month the president, uses that position to advance the interests, not just of the Indian people, of course, but of everybody in seeking a solution to the government of Afghanistan. I have great faith in Minister Jaishankar, who is one of the most impressive diplomats and foreign ministers in the world today.
Tom Tugendhat, thanks very much for joining us here on WION.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.